right, welcome to CARDESIGN.ACADEMY. Today I'm going to be doing a presentation level sketch rendering of a sports car interior, which I designed and built in Gravity Sketch. And I'm going to be taking a raw screenshot from Gravity Sketch and turning it into a really nice sort of polished but expressive rendering. So I'm going to start by resizing the image a bit. One of the things I really like about working over data is that a lot of the hard work of getting the perspective right and getting getting a lot of the details and surfaces dialed in, all of that's been done in the data. So basically I'm just adding a bit of artistry and some cast shadows, maybe some texturing to really bring this image to life. One of the things that I did was I rendered the screenshot with a white tune shader for the exterior body, and I cut away the roof so that you could really get a bird's eye view of the total interior. So the whole concept of this interior is really about the driver sitting in almost like an F1 car single seat cockpit, while the passenger is sitting in a sort of a limousine with a footrest and a table. So the driver and the passenger have this duality, and there's this really unique experience for each of the occupants. As you can see, also I'm working in Procreate, which is a bit different than the demos that I've done previously for exteriors in Sketchbook Pro. Just doing that to change things up a little bit, but also there's a lot of things I like about Procreate when it comes to brush textures and things like that. What I'm doing first is I'm adding a bit of airbrush to sort of fade out some of the periphery of the image. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my sketch layer. So I'm going to turn down the opacity on the original image, just like I do on the exteriors, and I'm going to take a black pencil, just a fine pencil like this. I'm just going to do a quick sketch overlay of the design theme. Just keep it quick and loose. It's going to give it some artistry. The great thing about sketching over data too is one of the things I was able to do is take a lot of different screenshots of the raw data and find the best combination of page composition, perspective, and lighting to get the images that I wanted to work with. So the way this interior works is the main tub of the interior is an integral part of the architecture of the vehicle, with the battery pack running through the center portion, and the seats, the bottom half of the seats are actually just very basic padding that's added to the tub in a fixed position, and then the backs of the seats are really just the portion of the seat that comes up above the rear floor and above the center console. This would be very difficult to sketch from scratch. This is why I love working in Gravity Sketch, because I can really work three-dimensionally right off the bat and think spatially. Here you can see I'm sketching over that footrest that the passenger gets. I'm also going to sketch a cast shadow over some of these elements, and you'll see once I start adding some cast shadows how much more dimensional this gets. I'm putting this diamond stitch pattern into the door. Now I'm drawing some cast shadows. So this door on the near side is going to experience a cast shadow that crosses over part of the seat. And then the same thing goes with the table here. The steering wheel is going to cast a shadow on the door. little bit on the door and a little bit on the floor. We have a fairly complete sketch layer. So now I'm going to bring the original data layer back to full opacity. I'm actually going to back it off just slightly so I can get a little bit of contrast with the cast shadows. So now I'm adding a new layer. I'm going to turn the opacity down. I'm going to start filling in those cast shadows using the hard airbrush tool. Next, I'm adding a cast shadow where this binnacle trim overlaps the main tub of the interior. As you can see, varying the thickness of the shadow gives an idea of the distance between those two components. So the more offset you have from one surface to another, the thicker the shadow, and the slimmer the shadow means that those parts are closer together. Then you can see the remainder of the instrument panel, the passenger side, projecting a shadow down onto the floor. And then just continuing on with some cast shadows. You can see the distance of the shadow, the thickness of the shadow, helps to define the distance between each of these layers of components. So I have the steering binnacle, and then I have this piece of saddle colored trim floating just above it. And the distance, or the offset of those two components is really defined by that cast shadow. That door trim is also going to cast a shadow. And then the main trim element here, the cockpit, if you call it, is casting a shadow just above that center spine console, which houses the battery. So in this vehicle concept, the car is battery powered with a large battery pack running through the entire center spine of the interior. Most electric cars have the battery under the floor as sort of a flat pancake style, which is what Tesla does. But because I want this car to have the lowest possible ride height, I want the occupants sitting directly above the floor and not on top of the battery pack. So the battery pack is running through between the occupants. So now you can see where I'm projecting a cast shadow from the table onto the footrest. And then this hoop that runs around the back of the driver's seat is also casting a shadow on the floor. and as it's going further rearward, it's rising off the floor, so that shadow is getting wider. But then as it climbs up the wall, the side wall of the tub, it's going to turn around and taper back into the trim, and that's going to signify that it's reuniting with the main tub surface. And the seat really should be casting a shadow as well. As the seat back rises up above the floor of the cargo tray. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and add a few layers of shape and form, just to kind of highlight some of the surfaces. I'm going to turn down the opacity a little bit, and I'm going to start with a soft, dark airbrush. And I'm just going to enhance the shadow on that door panel. Same thing on the seats. And then I'm just going to go in with an eraser and hit the top edge of that hole in the seat to give it the impression that the material's wrapping itself into the hole. I'm going to use the ink brush. I'm going to turn down the opacity on that so I can add some secondary shadow definition on the steering wheel. Okay, next I'm going to go in with some white. I'm going to add some additional highlighting. I just want to hit a few areas that I thought came out a little bit dark in the screenshot. So I'm going to go in with a soft airbrush. Okay, next I'm going to add a little bit of texturing. One of the things I like about Procreate is some of the texturing brushes. So adding that bit of texture and noise gives the interior a much more tactile quality to it, and it really helps the interior come to life. Gives the materials a sense of texture and materiality. Now I'm going in with the pencil tool, and I'm just using white and black pencil to really embellish on some of the highlights, add a bit of artistry, help to define those shapes and forms and thicknesses. I'm really going in on the steering wheel and binnacle as the focal point of the image, so I'm spending a lot of time with the pencil tool, just getting into the highlighting and detailing to really bring some clarity to that area of the vehicle. So you can see how bringing a bit of artistry into a screenshot from 3D data really marries the best of both worlds. It gives you the precision and the design intent of the data, while at the same time working out a lot of the difficult areas of steering wheel details and seating details, getting all of that coordinated in perspective, but then being able to add a bit of artistry in order to give it a sketch quality, which is something I really like in a presentation image.